Hi there, I'm Emily Fort with the Homeschool Freedom Coalition. I have a quick update for Iowa families. You're facing Senate Joint Resolution 2005. This would change the Iowa Constitution to create what it calls a, quote, right to public education. Okay, and that sounds fine because we're homeschoolers, so this doesn't matter to us, right? That's for them. But this does matter when we get into the wording of the joint resolution. It says that the state, quote, shall provide every child with a comprehensive education through public schools and, quote, competent educators. Now, I think it's pretty obvious to homeschoolers that's a huge shift, and we don't like that at all. It doesn't just keep public schools available, it makes the state responsible to provide the education. And of course, when the government is constitutionally responsible, it's claimed total authority. It must now do this. Now, under this amendment, if a child has a constitutional right to a public education, someone has to enforce that the child is receiving that, right? They have to get the right. And that language opens the door for someone to be, it could be a government official, a social worker, a truant officer, a school employee. A whole bunch of people could now be involved in making sure that child is getting their right, okay? And it is not limiting it to the parent at all. This new constitutional amendment would mean the state steps in as the final decision maker, and some low-level bureaucrat, right, gets to decide if your child is receiving the thing that they shall be given by the state. Okay, so this is a problem. Now, homeschoolers who've been homeschooling a while know the U.S. Supreme Court already settled this in Pierce versus Society of Sisters. Children are not the property of the state. Parents have the right to, and the duty, I think, to direct their kids' education. Now, you might think, that Iowa passed a parental rights law in 2024, but this is a constitutional amendment. Okay, this would outrank any state statute. Constitutional language always outranks state statutes. So this totally overrides the parental rights law that was passed in 2025. Once this goes into the state constitution, it will become the foundation for future lawsuits, future restrictions on homeschooling and on private schooling. So this fundamentally is about who's in charge of your education, you or the government. Do you believe as a parent that you shall provide your child an education and you get to choose what that looks like? You can choose homeschooling or private schooling or public schooling, or the state shall provide the education and they get to decide what that's going to look like long term here in Iowa. So if you believe, as we do here at the Homeschool Freedom Coalition, that parents are the only people who can ever be in that driver's seat, now is the time to speak up. Below this video, you're going to see a petition link. Sign the petition. Tell the Iowa legislature, tell the Senate, we do not want this joint resolution. It will take less than a minute. It sends a really clear message. We're not giving your authority. We're not giving our authority over our children to bureaucrats in Des Moines or any other place. They're our children. We're going to take care of this ourselves. You have no jurisdiction here. Thanks so much. But we're going to take a hard pass on Senate Joint Resolution 2005.